Okay, good morning, guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. Um, it's beautiful here in Alabama. I live in Alabama, y'all, so it's beautiful. I wanted to get on here and share with you guys the pros and the cons of booth rent, commission, and why I think that as a beauty provider, you should choose commission based. And I'm going to go into detail and tell you why. So, I have been in this industry as a nail tech for 13 years, and I've done both. I have done a little bit of both, but I have really feel like I have made the most success in doing commission, and I'm going to tell you why. So before I get into that, I'm going to explain the pros and the cons of commission. You don't have to provide any of your own products. They provide all your products. You don't have to worry about taxes. You don't have to worry about scheduling your appointments. You don't have to worry about clients, marketing, promoting, none of that. There's a lot of pros to it. In places that I've worked at before, some places do not provide taxes. You have to pay your own taxes. You're still a 1099, but they will provide products. They will provide marketing. They will provide clientele. You don't have to do any of that. Now, of course, anytime you're working in any commission-based anything, sales or whatever, what have you, it's not gonna hurt to spread and share your own platform or your own business on your own platforms. It's not gonna hurt. Like if I work for someone and I'm doing lashes or I'm doing hair, it's not gonna hurt me to say, hey, I have an appointment open at 3 o'clock on my social media. That's not gonna hurt me at all, but you don't have to do that. Another thing is insurance. If you go work for a lot of places, especially in like casinos or spas, they provide insurance. They provide like benefits, 401k, lots of incentives. So there's a lot of benefits to working for someone as commission. Now, the cons of working in a commission-based salon is that you have zero control over the quality of the services. You have no control over the products. I mean, unless you're working for a company and you just have a good relationship with them, you don't really have any control over what products you want to use. You don't have any control over who is on your book, who your clientele is. You cannot decorate your space. Like I said, unless you just have a really good relationship with the owner or the company that you work for, you cannot you can't control any component of your clientele, your products that you're using, your marketing, the way the company runs its business. You don't have any control over that. And that is a big con because, a lot of times in this industry, your essence is the quality of the products you're using, or, being able to kind of assert your own best judgments inside of the business. So that is a big con. And I think for the most part, that's pretty much all of the cons. I know sometimes working in a commission-based salon, you know, at least as a W-2 employee, you may not be able to take off work. You can't be as flexible with your personal schedule as you may want to, or as someone working for themselves or booth renting does. So those are pretty much all of the cons. Not just not having any control, not being able to have a say in your products, your services that you provide, your clientele, how to deal with certain rules and regulations within your business, or, you know, as a provider. You don't have any say over that, which is, it can be frustrating. It can be, but on the flip side of that, you don't have to deal with any of all of the policy issues that go along with working for someone, like you would if you was to booth rent or work for yourself. So now I'm gonna go into the pros of booth renting or just independent working, like if you have a suite. So the pros of that are, for one, you get all control. You get 100% full control over working for yourself. You get control over who steps foot into your salon, who you service. You can put your foot down on policy and what you choose and what you don't want to accept versus, you know, working for someone or under someone. You can choose all your products. You have control over what products you want to use. You can be more creative. You have more of a creative hand in everything that you want. You can be flexible with your scheduling. You don't have to worry about, you know, being able to take time off. You don't have to answer to anybody. You have pure 100% freedom, flexibility to come and go as you please. If you want to come in and just do one person a day, you can do one person and be done for the day. You know, if you don't want to accept any appointments after 4 o'clock, you don't have to accept any appointments after that time. So there's a lot of pros. You get to be creative. You can create your own space. You can decorate and design your own personal space exactly the way you want. You don't have to ask. There's no corporate person sticking over your shoulder telling you that you can and cannot do this. You can switch up your products. You have control over all of your marketing. You can do whatever you want. There's a lot of pros, a lot of pros that go into, you know, being an independent booth renter or just an independent suite salon owner. Cons of being a booth renter or suite owner is that along with all of the freedom comes all of the responsibility. So everything is on you. Everything is on you. If you don't work, you don't get paid. There's no PTO. There is no conflict resolution. You have to deal with that on your own. And if you're not a person that is comfortable having difficult conversations and being able to resolute difficult situations and being able to navigate through all of that, it is going to be very difficult for you. You have to make sure that as a business owner, as a booth renter, you are bringing in your own clientele. It is your responsibility to make sure that you are promoting and marketing your business, to bring in people, to bring in enough people that is going to sustain you, is going to pay your bills. Just like with any business, entrepreneurship is hard, it's tough, and you have to be willing to bite the bullet, do what you need to do, You know, hey, this might mean you have to work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. You know, long hours, you know, a lot of responsibility. Now, this is not to discourage anybody from going into being a booth renter or independent contractor or suite owner. This is not to discourage anybody, because there is a lot of reward that goes into that. You know, you can control a lot, and you can be very successful becoming a business owner, being a suite owner. But another con that I wanted to add is that you have to pay your own taxes. You have to make sure that when you are bringing in revenue, you are putting aside your taxes that you have to pay as a business owner, your fees, your rent, you have to make sure that you are putting aside enough money to provide your products, you know, and any other little things that you might want to provide as a business owner, as a booth renter. You have to buy your own insurance. You have to pay for your own insurance. There's no PTO, like I said. There's no PTO. There's no insurance. There's no incentives. There is everything is on you. Everything is on you. You have to be able to deal with the increase in products that, you know, the market might change, and you have to be willing to educate yourself. There's no paid education, no paid training, none of that. You know, you have to be willing to realize that as a business owner, as this is my bread and butter, and I'm responsible for everything. So I say all of that to say it just depends on the type of person that you are, and how much you're willing to work, and how much you're willing to sacrifice to make money in this industry, and for it to be sustainable for you. If you know that you're not a person that does not want to make any sacrifices, and you do not want to work long hours, and you don't want to possibly have to work every day, at least for the first couple of years, booth renting and independent ownership and suite rental is not going to be for you, because it is a lot of work. It's a lot of responsibility. And I always say, when you're first starting out, you need to look for, and I guess this goes into why you should, when you're first starting out, why you should choose working for someone, commission-based or W-2 employee. Because when you're first starting out and you're trying to go into being a booth renter, if you're just not that savvy like that, if you're not good at what you're doing, if you're not really confident, you are going to discourage yourself out of this industry, because it is very cutthroat. Okay, it's cutthroat. The beauty industry in itself is pretty much entrepreneurial based anyway, because there is no set pay. You're not getting the same pay every week. It could be, you know, a season where you're up and you're doing really, really well, and you made a lot of sales, and you had a lot of clients that season. And then it could be a different season where you don't have as many sales. So you really have to be creative about how you're going to sustain yourself. And this is not just about being able to pay your bills, being able to pay your rent, being able to pay your taxes, being able to buy your products. This is about having a lifestyle, being able to sustain and have a lifestyle that you enjoy, that you are proud of, that can take care of you and your family. So I say all of that to say, when you're first starting out, go find a spa to work. Go and apply at a job, in a spa, in a mall, in a casino. You know, work for someone first for a couple of years, or at least a year, just to kind of get your feet wet, just to kind of give you the stamina and the encouragement that you need to work in this industry. Um, you don't have to worry about clientele. You don't have to worry about marketing. You don't have to worry about any of that. Now, I know some places, I know a couple of places that I have worked at. Um, I was commission based, even though I did not have to worry about my marketing. I was responsible for paying my own taxes, and you know, I did kind of have to push myself out and, you know, help myself bring in the business that I wanted to bring. Now, I'm a very ambitious type of person, so that kind of stuff makes me excited. But I will say it will burn you out if you're not prepared, if you're not willing to sacrifice, if you're not willing to just go days and weeks without making the money that you want to make. So you have to be very ambitious. You have to be very ready and willing to take on a monster. And that's why I wrote this book, y'all. That's why I wrote my book, The Introvert's Guide to Becoming a Nail Tech and Thriving as a Nail Tech, because confidence is a huge part. Being able to communicate, being able to speak up for yourself and be direct in your tone and your thinking is a big part of the success in this business if you want to make it. Now, for me, I'm at a point in my life right now where I don't want to worry about clients, or I don't want to worry about pulling in my own clients. I don't want to worry about taxes and rent and all of that, because I have just decided for myself that for me, that's just not what I want to do right now in this space that I'm in. You know, I have a family, I have responsibilities, and I don't want to spend all of my energy pouring into you know, a business that is gonna burn me out. I don't want to do that, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, and that's okay. I feel like I'm in a really good position right now. I don't have to worry about insurance. I don't have to worry about buying products. I don't have to worry about marketing. I have guaranteed clientele. You know, even though sometimes I will say it can be a little tough because I don't have control over the type of clientele that I'm bringing in. I don't have control over my services, but the pros just far outweigh the cons, because at the end of the day, I'm able to spend more time with my family. I'm able to just rest and relax and not get burned out, and you know, not have to do all the hustling that you have to do when you want to build a clientele. Now, if you don't have any, you know, if your life is set up to where you are able to focus that time and attention just straight into a business, straight into building, straight into booth renting, straight into being able to provide rent a space for yourself, then go right ahead. It just depends on what works for you. So I say this, don't allow hustle to get into the way of your purpose. If you are burned out and you're tired and you're stretched thin and you feel like at the end of the day you have nothing else left for yourself and you kind of just want to do something else, you need to really sit down and think about what it is that you really want to do, and if this is something that you want to do. Because any kind of business, any kind of, even as a commission-based service provider, it's still tough. You still have to have a certain level of agility and toughness and ambition, because you know, if someone comes to you and you do a poor service on them, that news is going to travel very fast. and that's going to take money out of your pocket. So it's still, you still have to be a brand. You still have to market yourself accordingly. You still have to have a certain level of agility just in any type of industry where you're doing any commission, any sales. You are your brand. Even if you are a real estate agent and you're working for a company and you're working for a real estate company, you still have to market yourself. You still are a brand, and you're not any less of a service provider just because you work for somebody, just because you choose to not hustle as much. It's okay. It's okay. A lot, and I hate that now. We live in an era where social media has kind of contorted our reality of things, and we see that, oh well, I saw this girl on my TikTok and I saw this girl on my Instagram, and they're doing this and they're bringing in $600 a day, and they're in a suite, and it just because it looks like that does not mean that that's what it really is. And you never know. Those people that are bringing in what you think they're bringing in, they have to go through a certain level of pain before they can get to that point. And there's no telling how many hours they've had to work and how much money they have to put into their business, how much time it takes to even get to that point. If you have children, if you have a family, they might have more support. They might have a different situation that allows them to create that type of income for themselves. So you have to get realistic, and you have to write down on a piece of paper, get you a piece of paper and write down what you have going on in your life versus what you can handle. Because just because you get inspired and you see somebody, like I said, on TikTok or Instagram, and they're really doing good, and you see that they're really doing well, they might be at a different place in their life. That might not be what might work for you. So I wanted to share that because I just see so many people that have let their license expire, or they used to do this but they stopped doing it, or they did it for a little while and now they're doing something else, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to say that this might not be something that I do for the rest of my life, but I have been able to do this for a substantial amount of time. And if you want to have a sustaining career in this industry, you're going to have to be realistic with yourself. Okay, you're gonna have to be realistic. It's got to flow with your schedule, with your responsibilities, with your lifestyle. So I just want y'all to be encouraged, because I feel like I'm in a really good position. I make really, really good money, y'all. Like, it's not perfect, and it's not obviously, I know I could probably be making more doing something else or doing it a different way, but I think I'm in a really good position because I was realistic with myself. And not only do I make good income, but I am able to relax. I don't feel like I have to hustle as hard, and I'm not burning myself to the bone and grinding myself out. I can go on vacations, I can do trips, I can take days off if I want to, and I don't have to worry about, oh my God, I gotta work, because if I don't work, I'm not bringing in no money. It's just, I feel like I'm in a really good position, and I feel like God has put me in a very good position, and I just feel like maybe he put me in this position because he wants me to share my experience with people and give encouragement to people who feel like they don't know what to do, or they wasted their money going to school, or they want to do something creative but they just don't want to be controlled, and you know, I know how that feels because I'm that way. I don't like being confined. And the thing about working for someone, especially when you're in a creative arena, is that it's a little bit more laid back than the typical like 9 to 5. Because I do have corporate hours, you know, I have a set schedule, but it's not as uptight, if that makes sense. Um, it's not as controlled, and it's more laid back, it's more free. So you just kind of have to figure out what works for you, y'all. I'm finna stop talking because I'm almost at 30 minutes. But y'all, please check out my book. It's in my description. I'll leave it below. It's got a ton of good just information that kind of breaks down everything, and can help you build your confidence up, and can give you the encouragement that you need to go into any, it doesn't even have to be the beauty industry. It could be just any industry where you just feel like you just don't know what to say. You don't know how to be because you're introverted, or you're not confident, or you're not good with your words. Check it out. It is, and I'm not saying this because it's my book, but I just think it has the magnitude, the capacity to really change the way you think about this industry, about conversation, communication. So it's in my link, y'all, down below. And I keep saying link, it's in my description down below. It's called The Introvert's Guide to Thriving as a Nail Tech. Y'all, you can do this. You can be sufficient. You can sustain yourself. And this is a career, y'all. This is a field where AI really can't take over. I mean, maybe in some way, but not. The people and human need for connection is never gonna die. It's never gonna die. So your ability to connect with people and to learn how to communicate with people is imperative for your survival, for your success. So this is what that book talks about, but it's down below. Go check it out and let me know what you think. So if y'all have any questions, please leave them down below. Let's, like I said before, let's keep everything, let's keep it nice and keep it clean, okay? So I will see y'all guys on the next video, and stay pressed, stay polished. Peace.